All right, friends, it's Seaman, and I'm back with a new video, and I'm gonna react to this video by this science slave. His name is Physionic. So Physionic says creatine debunked, no extra muscle gained. Where we duped? What do you mean no extra muscle gain? How does it gain muscle? How does a powder build a muscle?
All previous creatine research has a fatal flaw, according to a brand new study. This has been sent to me by so many people willing to ditch their creatine due to this new research. But is that what the study actually indicates? And are there some critical nuances that change the scales back in favor of creatine? The first answer is yes, and so is the second answer. This is going to be fun.
Okay.
Buckle up. In this new study, researchers did what many other studies have done before. Look at creatine's impact on muscle. But they did something unique that few other studies have done. And it's that unique twist that makes this study so influential. In a randomized control design, the researchers had people consume creatine or no creatine for 13 weeks. But
okay. I don't really care about these studies, but this is going to be interesting.
instead of measuring muscle or a semi-precise measure of muscle known as lean body mass at the beginning and then again at the end.
And how do they do that exactly? Did they even mention? What are they using here to measure it?
They measured again 1 week later.
Okay.
Then the participants...
That looks like a DEXA scan. DEXA scans can't distinguish between sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and myofibrillar growth. I've mentioned this before. It's an NCBI. So maybe he's never read that study, so he's not really understanding what's going on here. A creatine cannot build a muscle, cannot build a myofibrillar in series or in parallel. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Underwent the exact same muscle building workout program for 12 weeks. This effectively keeps volume or total.
It can aid in the construction of it, but it itself cannot build it. And an exercise doesn't, no.
Amount of weight lifted, the same between groups.
Okay.
Other studies have just measured at the beginning and then again at the end.
Sure.
The reason this is important is to measure 1 week later, again, is because the creatine leads to water retention, which gets picked up in lean body mass measures.
Yeah, it leads to water retention. Yeah.
Like those used in many studies. So, are people actually gaining more lean body mass after taking creatine and lifting weights, or is it merely initial water weight gain from the creatine?
I love this one. After lifting weights, you mean after lifting, but they're adapted to their weights? There's no adaptations? They're just lifting, they're just exercising. Well, you could also equate that to a factory worker then, right? Physionic. He's also exercising. Will he have benefits from creatine afterward, after he's been lifting boxes all day in the factory for 6 hours?
First week that persists over time of the study. Well, take a look. You can see lean body mass change on the vertical axis and then 3 measurements. The baseline.
Okay, yeah, baseline, yeah. Mean lean body mass. Lean body mass? You mean they lost fat? They got lean body mass because it helped them lose weight, lose fat?
Line to wash in indicates the measurements after 1 week of creatine.
Okay.
Notice that the creatine condition, the darker bar, is statistically significantly indicating creatine alone leads to increases in lean body mass without.
Okay, it helps in lean body mass, but it doesn't build a muscle though. It helps you get lean in body mass.
Resistance training.
Okay.
And unless it generates half a kilogram, about a pound of lean mass, potentially muscle, in 1 week, and we found something that's...
What do you mean potential in muscle? What muscle? How does it build a muscle, a myofibrillar?
On par or more potent than steroids. This is
What
like...
do you mean more potent than steroids? You mean expanding the sarcoplasm? Again, that was a DEXA scan back there. I saw that. They can't distinguish between sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar growth, okay? It'll see it as the same thing.
Water weight gain. So if we skip to the far right, where we compare the first...
Water weight gain, yeah, water weight gain.
baseline measurement against 13 weeks later after resistance training. Again, creatine supplementation indicates a lean mass increase compared to the control. However, in the
lean mass increase, lean mass. What's a mass that's lean? Well, you got leaner, you got leaner. I got leaner, yeah. Loss of body fat.
comparison, they've removed the first week and focused on the second baseline measurement, the one after 1 week of the likely water weight gain from creatine supplementation. Notice how creatine no longer offers an advantage? Well,
No, it doesn't offer an advantage. You want to know why? Because it doesn't build muscle. You have to actually have damage. Something has to be damaged in there to build. If there's no damage, there's nothing to build. So why would it build anything if there's nothing damaged?
that's what all the media headlines have been in a frenzy about.
No, really? They've been in a frenzy about that because nobody out there is getting damaged. They're just exercising like a factory worker, adapted to their exercises, and they're hoping that creatine can somehow bypass it and build a myofibrillar magically out of thin air. It's going to construct it. Just because you waved your arms around. The magic wand. Poof. Yeah, okay.
Plainly, it tells us
I got news for you, bro. You actually have to go through it. You actually have to go through damaging those muscles to get them to grow these myofibrillars. I'm sorry, man. I know magic power, magic beans are going to grow them magically out of thin air just because you're adapted and you don't want to go through the pain of lifting eccentrically to damage these muscles to grow more myofibrillars. These sarcomeres in series and parallel, dude.
lean mass increases are only water weight, not an actual lean mass increase.
Wow, he looks shocked. It's actually water weight. It's not lean mass. No, really? You mean if I go outside and I start hosing down the grass and my flowers and everything, waving my arms around, you mean it's going to be water weight? It's not going to be muscle? Hello, I'm using my arms and I'm exercising them, right? I'm doing gardening in the back, digging up the dirt and everything. Oh, you mean it's just water weight? Shit, that sucks, doesn't it?
From the training effect on creatine. That's pretty shocking.
It's pretty shocking, the training effect. No, it's pretty shocking that it doesn't build muscles without damage. Wow. Isn't that pretty shocking, guys? It cannot build muscles. You know, you're going to have to damage them, unfortunately. So it doesn't build muscles. If muscles are not damaged, the creatine is not going to build any muscles, bro. Get it? It's going to be water weight. This is fucking hilarious, man.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, so
isn't it? I was so shocked too. It can't build muscles without muscles being damaged, the creatine. Can you imagine that, bro?
These studies have told us that there's advantages to creatine. So
I know. They told us too there was advantages to creatine that you could build muscles without having to damage them. Can you imagine building muscles without fucking having to fucking damage them? Fucking shit, bro. Eh? You could build a myofibrillar magically out of fucking thin air. You wouldn't have to go through the pain and gain and all of that of you lifting eccentrically. Huh? All that pain to build a muscle, bro. Come on.
All that research wrong, dude.
Where innovation meets the skies.
Error in study design.
Yes, such a critical error they made in study design that, man, it doesn't build without damage. The creatine cannot build a muscle. See that? Is that incredible?
Whew. I wouldn't want to be someone who's been saying that creatine is effective for muscle and performance right now.
Muscle and performance, maybe it has some performance things, but that could be placebo. I don't know, but it puts a possibility because it's creatine, right? I mean, there's a rise in creatine muscles, can help with performance, but as far as building a muscle, yeah, I don't know how it can bypass the myonuclear domain limit. I don't know how it bypasses any of these things. No.
Oh, wait.
Especially it building a muscle without having to damage a muscle, that's something new to me, man, because I don't know anything that could build a muscle without a muscle being damaged first. A muscle has to be damaged for anything to happen, even if it's minute. There still has to be something, no matter what supplement or peptide or drug or whatever you're taking there. See what I mean? There has to be that damage. There has to be a level of damage. No damage, no growth.
I am. Well,
Yes, he's shocked too because he's carrying some phony muscles too because he's a lifter. He does lift too as well. He's a lifting slave. And so he says he swore by creatine, built his muscles, and he doesn't have any muscles. It's just fake. Yeah. I don't know what to say.
Getting pretty hot in here, isn't it?
It's getting pretty hot in here. The creatine doesn't build muscles magically out of thin air. It doesn't bypass muscle damage.
Okay, I guess I need to defend my honor.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I left my suit of armor with my horse. So
Sure.
I'll need to use the data instead. Talk about nerdy.
Okay.
So let me rewind and let me...
But I can tell you this, there's a study about how creatine can augment satellite cells. So if you do get damaged, if the muscles are damaged, it augments, there's an augmentation in the satellite cells. So it would help to increase the amount of satellite cells that come out. Can that be beneficial? Yeah. I mean, more satellite cells would donate more nuclei, wouldn't they? That would expand the myonuclear domain and this regenerative pool, the satellite cell pool. That would give you more benefits over I guess, short and long term. I mean, because again, these are construction workers, these nuclei. So every time you would get this damage, you have more construction workers, and man, they build them bigger and stronger even more. Yeah, and quicker.
remind you of something.
Yeah.
But instead of...
But look, if you're asking me, I find that, forget about creatine. I think, me personally, this is me, free-form peptide bond amino acids are probably the best thing to go with to if you get this damage, to rebuild, to reconstruct these, because it has all of that in it. It has all the creatine, it has the L-form amino acids. It has all the essential amino acids, okay, in a free-form peptide bond amino acid, the tablet form. So if you take that, you're going to notice much more benefits. If you're getting damaged and you take them before and after your damaging session, you're going to see greater enhancements, way greater. The recommended dosage is usually something like 6 before you work out and 6 afterward. Sometimes it could be 8 and 8, or 6 and 6.
Measuring muscle, or a semi-precise measure of muscle known as lean body mass, the researchers did use a measure that's extremely common in research, DEXA, for lean body mass measurements. But as I alluded to, it's only a proxy, since lean body mass is made up of muscle, cartilage, and bone, and many other tissues that are non-fat. Right. So it's assumed increases are largely muscle, but they may not be. That is a shortcoming of other research, but it's also a silver bullet of this study. But why, if there wasn't even an increase in lean body mass? Isn't it a moot point? Well, not quite, because the study used a 12-week training program, which might be enough to detect muscle growth even in lean body mass measures, but is it sensitive to measure actual muscle growth effects specifically? Maybe not. But we don't need to speculate. I don't need you to trust me, although, well, a little trust would be nice, but let's not rely on it. There are studies that measure muscle directly, not proxies. If we pop open that data, we can see that they may...
Yeah, muscle fiber adaptation. What did it say there? Hold on a second. I gotta go back because it went too fast.
...that measure muscle...
Performance and muscle fiber adaptation to creatine. How does it adapt to creatine supplementation and heavy resistance training? So just because you're lifting heavy and you're taking this creatine, that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. This means nothing.
Directly, not proxies. If we pop open that data, we can see that they make the same mistake as the many other studies, indicating...
Again, I love this. Creatine placebo. Everybody knows that as smart people, that concentric exercises do not build muscles. Eccentrics do. But people in the gym are not lifting eccentrically. They're adapted to their exercise eccentrically. See what I mean? And they're lifting concentrically. And so... there's no damage. There's nothing to build. So what's creatine going to do? Nothing. It's just going to fill your muscles up with water because you're pumping your muscles.
Fat-free mass, so FFM there. The creatine condition indicates greater fat-free mass. But as we know, if we were to remove the first week of water.
Yeah, look, I'll explain this because I'm going to bring this up because this guy doesn't really know. This guy seemingly, he thinks he knows a lot, but doesn't know that much. Not everybody can know everything. Look. Hold on a second. Not that one. Probably this one. So, augmenting creatine. Augment satellite cell. So you see, here's a study right here, right? Creatine supplementation augments increase in satellite cell myonuclei. So creatine supplementation augments the increase in satellite cell and myonuclei number in skeletal muscle induced by strength training. Yeah, but here's the question: what is getting the satellite cell to leave quiescence? Muscle damage. When muscles are damaged, the satellite cell it's activated. It's activated. Proportion of satellite. See, look, all training regimes were found to increase the proportion of satellite cells, but significantly greater enhancements were observed with creatine supplementation at week 4 or something. This is a very weird study, but I think this is too long. In conclusion, hold on a second. How long is this? This is a longer version. I need a shorter version, man. There must be a PubMed one here somewhere. Here it is, a shorter version. Oh, it's too long. Let's see the bottom here. The present study demonstrates for the first time that creatine supplementation in combination with strength training amplifies the training-induced increase in satellite cell number. Yeah, but satellite cells are only activated in fucking muscle damage. It's not just like you're lifting. So there must be a relative amount of damage there. If those people were adapted to their exercises, then it's not going to increase the satellite cell number. See what I mean? And myonuclei concentration in human skeletal muscles, thereby allowing an enhanced muscle fiber growth in response to strength training. See that? So it can enhance muscle fiber growth in response to what? To strength training. But the question is this. It's not damaged. It's adapted. If you're adapted to your exercises and you're not getting this damage, then there's not going to be any enhanced muscle fiber growth response. Get it? You understand me? It's not going to work because this thing has to leave quiescence. And if it's not, forget it. It's dead in the water. So this study just says it all. Fake. It says it fake, bro. Man. It's all fake, man. This is funny.
Creatine research has
Sorry, I got carried away there. I don't know where I am. Just give me a second, man. Hold on.
This is your muscle.
So let's go back here. Sorry, I got lost there because I was trying to show that stuff.
Stake as the many other studies indicating in fat-free mass. So FFM there. The creatine condition indicates greater fat-free mass. But as we know, if we were to remove the first week of water that's sucked up into the musculature due to creatine, we might not see these effects. Fortunately, these researchers also took muscle biopsies and measured the actual size of individual muscle cells, as we see.
Yeah, again, creatine does not build muscles if there's no damage there. It doesn't do anything. That whole augmenting the satellite cell, there must be a relative amount of damage. They just didn't mention it in the study. They say strength training. Well, what is strength training? See what I mean? What is strength training to you? Strength training to me means damaging muscles and getting bigger and stronger. Some people think strength training is about lifting concentrically against gravity, going into the moon, lifting heavy weights. Get it? That's strength training. I don't know. If eccentric training is strength training causing damage, but concentric training, they consider strength training, but it doesn't cause any damage and it doesn't build muscles, but eccentric training is considered strength training and builds muscles and strength, then which one is which? So then they're all strength training. The only difference is one actually builds muscle and the other one fucking doesn't. See what I mean?
That here, the one 2A.
I don't know. I don't know how you equate that. If you want to get physically stronger, you need to build myofibrillars. If you want to stay physically weak but lift a heavy weight concentrically, well, stay there. Who cares?
2AB and 2B, there are different types of muscle cells.
Okay.
And clearly we see significant increases in muscle cell size. Now, there's still two issues that we need to address.
There was an increase in muscle cell size because they swelled up. They swelled up, man. That's what happened.
Fear not, my creatine doused honor shall be
swollen with water.
vindicated. I'm going to be covering more on creatine's impact on a muscle from this study, including some nuances of creatine that I think people aren't considering in the extended version of this video that you're currently watching.
Okay.
If you'd be interested in access to that, along with live sessions with me to chat up some studies, research reviews, and a whole library of different study analyses and videos with applicable takeaways, then join the Physionic Insiders. The link is in the description.
Okay.
Now, the first issue is that increases in muscle cell size doesn't actually speak to the contractile units, the functional protein.
Yes, here we go. Finally, the contractile proteins, the functional units. Yes, the sarcomeres. Yes, yes.
Within the cells. I mean, we know that the muscle itself gets an outsized muscle size increase with creatine, but that could still just be water. Fortunately,
It is just water if you're adapted. You have to have something damaged to build. There's no damage, there's no growth.
there are many studies looking at the effect of
Look, man, no damage, no contractile proteins. It's really simple. There's nothing to build any contractile proteins, no damage.
creatine on these functional proteins like myosin and other myofibrillar proteins, and they still indicate a creatine advantage. So now across...
I didn't say there wasn't a creatine advantage. I showed you the study. It says there it augments the satellite cell, but it only augments it if there's something damaged. It has to leave quiescence. So how does it do that? Well, damaged fibers, they wake up the satellite cell. That's what it does. It proliferates, differentiates into these other cells, man, like myoblasts, fibroblast cells and stuff. They build, oh man. They build these things in series and in parallel, these sarcomeres. Oh, brother.
multiple lines of evidence, we still see creatine have a muscle promoting effect. But hey, why didn't we...
Yeah, but only when muscles are damaged. Damaged. That's when.
see at least some change in the main study that we've been discussing? Well, a number of reasons. One, for the reasons that we discussed earlier, lean body mass is imprecise for muscle gain, although often used. But more poignantly...
Yeah, I see people on creatine. It makes them look muscular. What is that muscular? Usually because of the water that's pushing the muscle. Just like this guy did a study with Cialis. He took Cialis and he goes, look at this. He goes, look how muscular I look. These lines and everything, you know, because it's pushing against the muscle, the water weight. That's all it's doing, really. He got pumped. He got so pumped up with Cialis. All that blood went in there. So it's just like with creatine. You're just pumping it up. Makes you look, it makes you appear, gives you this false appearance of muscularity when it's fake. It's fake.
When you're looking at a small difference from a single molecule, usually you need to do one or two of three things.
Yeah, wow.
Increase the precision of the test is one, but two is to extend the length of the study. And three, the researchers included enough participants to detect differences in lean body mass, but not necessarily by something like direct muscle measurements. There's a bit more on the topic that I'll discuss in the insider version if you're interested.
Okay.
So, where does that leave everything? Should you still be snorting creatine like Tony Montana? Well, don't snort it, but this study does illuminate a deficiency in previous research. It's still an important study. However, it does not inform on the effectiveness of creatine for muscle growth in as commanding a way.
Look, man, it's just like any other supplement. They can aid in the construction of muscle if muscle was damaged, but they themselves, supplements, cannot build muscles. So what supplement would be the most or the most superior in building muscle when muscle is damaged? Amino acids. There you go. The essential amino acids, all of them. Free form peptide bond. Okay? It's really simple. Can creatine help? Well, it says it augments the satellite cell, but you get those amino acids in the free form peptide bond. You get all the essential ones in there. So do you need creatine? Not necessarily. Can you get creatine in like what is it? I don't know. Sardines? Yeah, they have like I think in one can of sardines there's like 3 or 5 grams of creatine in there in that fish. See what I mean? So do animal products have creatine? Yeah, they have creatine in them. Whatever. Apparently, the sardines they have a high level of them. I don't know, 3 to 5 grams of creatine. That's pretty high. So and you get the other benefits of eating sardines. So one can is probably all you need a day. One can keeps the doctor away. I don't know, man, but whatever.
Has been portrayed by many. The reality is, even with this illuminating discovery by the researchers, there's still many lines of evidence, better evidence, that indicate that.
It's not an illuminating discovery. It is for you. They simply just did a test to see whether it can build a muscle, what kind of muscle it's building, what's it doing there. But they didn't say that these people, they had them doing damaging exercises to see what the effect would be taking creatine. See what I mean? The other study must have done a damaging sessions to find out it when the satellite cell is activated, what would happen taking creatine. So it said it augmented it, get it? But in your study, they just simply exercise. They're adapted to their exercises. They would get a what? A zero, water, placebo, water, whatever, nothing.
Creatine still promotes muscle growth. So if you're
Creatine still promotes muscle growth. It doesn't promote it. It can aid in building it if it was damaged, but it can't promote anything. Doesn't have a promotional idea, promotionals.
taking it for that outcome, creatine is still a fantastic supplement. But
yeah, it's only fantastic if there's a level of damage there. If there's no damage, it's not doing anything. Is it good to, like, I don't know, give you some energy, something, lifting abilities? Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
what are you doing taking it for your muscles? I mean, don't miss out on some of its other benefits like those described here. Thanks for hanging out.
I just don't like too much creatine. It gives you a lot of water weight, which it's not a necessity, but whatever.
And you gotta go.
We've got some other stuff there on creatine. I'll see you in the next one. Touch, think about that, like, subscribe, support the channel. Creatine, see, it does and it doesn't have benefits, yes.